In the news, Chris Hemsworth is currently in negotiations to star in a spin-off Men in Black film with F. Gary Gray possibly set to direct. Link for the Hollywood Reporter article in the description box below. So my initial thoughts when I read this were a little bit like, wow, that's different, a spin-off instead of a reboot, or just continuing forward with the characters we know. But then as I was reading the article more, it's still going to be set in the Men in Black world. It's just going to be different characters within that world and how it's going to kind of continue moving that organization forward and building on the organization more than just the two characters that we know from Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. So I thought that was pretty cool because we're actually building out the world, we're building out the universe of Men in Black, and I think that has a lot of potential because when you're dealing with an organization that kind of just goes around finding aliens that are hiding among the people, hiding among the humans, you can really do a lot with that. And I think it's pretty cool that they've decided finally to expand on what is available in this world to give us even more stories with completely different characters and completely different leads. So I haven't seen any news stories indicating who the co-star is going to be if we actually get Hemsworth to pen this deal and we can get F. Gary Gray set to direct. So he's got a pretty good list of diverse films under his belt as a director. Some I feel were more enjoyable than others, but that's kind of what you get when you start doing these films out over, 10 years, 20 years, whatever the case may be. You're going to have hits, you're going to have misses. That just kind of comes with the territory of creating brand new content. And then you add Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth does come across on screen as a confident male lead, and he also brings a certain kind of charisma and charm and comedy to his roles to where he could either be the actual lead or co-starring along someone else that may be pulling more of a serious tone or more naive tone. So I came up with a few possibilities of who I think could actually co-star with him that would add a different element to the film. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the folks I think could come alongside Chris Hemsworth. First person on the list is Michael Pena. And for these two, I actually see them both as kind of newer recruits going out together. Like maybe this is the first time they've been partnered up. And this is going to be the beginning of a long partnership for the Men in Black franchise. I kind of see them going forward. I think they would play off of each other really well with their personalities. Michael Pena can kind of pull in that more serious delivery at times, but he can also pull off comedic. Again, a skill set that plays really well with what Hemsworth can do on the more serious, but also comedic side. So I think both of them could play off of each other very well, and it would be kind of fun to see them both starting out and trying to figure this thing out together and watching their reactions as new recruits. Next, this is a big swing for the fence, right? This is a big attempt, but Denzel Washington. I feel like Denzel Washington it would be like a flip reversal. So instead of having the old guy with Tommy Lee Jones, we have the more older seasoned veteran with Denzel Washington, bringing that straight-faced, really serious, stoic, almost like presence to the film, along with Hemsworth, who would be much more of a brand new recruit, kind of head in the clouds, kind of excited about what's going on, or maybe confused. It would also add some continuity to this universe because we could actually see that you bring in these new guys and you put them with the old seasoned vets. Again, going back to the first one with Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. So we're just kind of continuing that pattern where the young guys are getting teamed up with the older guys to go out and complete these missions. Next up is Richard Ayoade. This is more along the lines of kind of him not being a field agent, but maybe being like an internal kind of information specialist or something like that with the Men in Black universe. Similar to what Simon Pegg does in the Mission Impossible franchise. It's kind of where I see this guy's character. You could even put this character in with any of the other characters as well, since we're going back to the office and we're going to have this information specialist, again, similar to what Simon Pegg's character does with Mission Impossible. Again, keeping with the idea of seasoned veteran helping rookie, I'm looking at Frances McDormand. So you have a seasoned veteran, female lead, going up with Chris Hemsworth, who's the young rookie. Again, head in the clouds, kind of excitement or confusion, whatever the case may be for this particular character. But you have the seasoned veteran coming up to kind of help school the rookie and get the rookie up to speed. If you saw 3 Billboards, you know she can play serious and dark really well. So this could be a nice complement to the more lighthearted persona that Chris Hemsworth can play when he needs to. And finally, Kate McKinnon, who he's already worked with in the Ghostbusters movie. So they already have a certain level of chemistry on screen because they've already worked together once on a film. So bringing her back to be that kind of more just serious but crazy kind of character that's always surprising Chris Hemsworth, who's the newer kind of recruit, as she's a little bit more experienced, not like super vet, but definitely more experienced than him. and she just has a wild side that you can see in her eyes. I see Kate McKinnon being able to pull that off really well. She's really good with looks and stuff like that. So sound off below with your thoughts about these picks and let me know what you think about those picks, or even better, if you have someone that you would like to see him go on screen with, throw that suggestion down below and leave a little explanation as to what you think could really work well for those characters on screen together. Marvel's Avengers Infinity War has moved its release date forward to April 27th from May 4th. Link for the Variety article in the description box below. Literally thought this was like an online prank or a goofball thing that was happening on Twitter. Did not believe it when this news first dropped, because there's just a thread of just tweets going back and forth between Marvel Studios and Robert Downey Jr. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we can go ahead and move the date forward. Let's just go ahead and do it a week early. Why not? And I was like, is this for real? And all of a sudden I was like, holy cow, this is for real. This is happening. We're getting it a week early. Even better, don't have to wait until May now. We get it right at the end of April. So this is great news for us as fans, because we don't really need to worry so much now about spoilers. It's not being released a week early overseas and then like it comes to us. It's just dropping, and it's gonna be great, and we're all gonna be able to see this and experience it at the same weekend. And I think that's really awesome of Marvel to do. Now, I did see some talk online, a little bit of chatter and headlines about how that this could actually be because of what Black Panther's success is doing. They're trying to ride that wave. While I feel that's partially true, I'm not really like wholeheartedly jumping into that mindset that because Black Panther was so successful, they're like, we need to release this a week early. I think this movie would have been successful regardless. However, I will admit that I do agree that because Black Panther has been such a success, I feel that it will carry some forward motion and some forward progress for this film, even though I don't think Black Panther was a make or break for Avengers Infinity War to succeed or not. 10 years in the making, Marvel's Avengers Infinity War. I feel like this film, despite Black Panther could have, let's just say, have been Marvel's first big swing and a miss. I don't really feel like that would have pulled too much away from Avengers Infinity War. 10 years in the making, everybody is hyped for this film. What is Thanos going to bring? Why is he such a foreboding presence in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Was all of this buildup worth it? Was the wait for us as fans worth it? It's all coming to head. Everybody is super pumped for this film. I think moving it forward a week was a pretty good idea, but I wanted to dive in and take an even deeper look as to kind of what's coming up that could like lead into excitement for it, what's happening afterwards that could continue to challenge it at the box office. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. And we're going to do that with, you guessed it, trusty notepad. So out of everything in April, there's really only one film that I feel is going to build the excitement level for Avengers, and I feel that's Rampage. Because everything else that's coming out in April, Quiet Place looks like it's going to be suspense horror. You Were Never Really Here is a thriller. Blockers is a comedy. Overboard is a comedy. Truth or Dare is the Blumhouse horror film. Super Troopers 2 is definitely going to be a comedy. And then you have Traffic, which looks like it's going to be action and thriller. And then you have I Feel Pretty Again, which is a comedy. Out of everything, literally Rampage is going to be that action adventure film that might kind of boost the excitement level, if it boosts it at all. Because again, I feel like Avengers Infinity War is riding its own wave of excitement. I don't think anything is really going to hinder that at all. And if once it drops, I think once everybody sees it, then it's just going to get like this extra boost. And we're going to see it really hit home for the next couple weeks. Because coming out in May, we've got Life of the Party, Breaking In, Book Club, Show Dogs, Deadpool 2, Han Solo. So again, Life of the Party, Breaking In, Book Club, Show Dogs, these films really aren't competing for the same audience that Avengers Infinity War is going to pull. Now, I think everybody will go see Avengers Infinity War, so keeping that in mind that yes, people who wouldn't normally go see this movie are going to go see it. I still don't feel like Life of the Party, Breaking In, Book Club, and Show Dogs are really going to be pulling any box office dollars away. I don't think those films are going to detract people who wanted to see Avengers Infinity War. I don't think they're going to look at it and be like, you know, I was going to see Infinity War, but Show Dogs, I think that's where my weekend is at. I really don't see that happening. Now, if people have already seen Infinity War 3, 4, 5 times, and they're like, maybe I should probably take a break and go see Show Dogs now, that I totally understand. But when you're just like up against each other, I think Avengers Infinity War is the knockout punch for the box office. until we get to Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 is going to pull in a more limited audience. That's not to say it won't crush at the box office, because I believe it will. The marketing campaign for Deadpool 2 is already in motion and it is enjoyable. Not as memorable as the marketing campaign for the first film, in my opinion, but still memorable and still getting people pumped to see this film. And Deadpool 2 comes out in the 4th week that Avengers Infinity War has been in theaters. So Avengers Infinity War has 3 weeks really without any competition. And then the 4th week Deadpool 2 hits, and then the 5th week Han Solo hits. However, again, Infinity War, 10 years, lots of excitement. We could see Avengers making a lot of money for longer than 5 weeks, would not surprise me. So where do I think it could hit? Let's go ahead and take a look at that as far as the box office is concerned. And for that, we're going to continue to stick with Notepad. So the top 5 Marvel films at the box office: Captain America Civil War coming in at number 5 with $408,084,349. Number 4, Iron Man 3 with $409,013,994. Number 3, Black Panther, $451,704,037. Number 2, Avengers Age of Ultron, $459,005,868. And number 1 with a commanding lead, Avengers, $623,357,910. If this movie hits and it's as great as the trailers lead me to believe it's going to be, and all of the energy leads me to believe, and the hype leads me to believe, this could take the number 2 spot. I could see this easily jumping up into the $500 million. So I would not be surprised if it takes number 2, because I feel like the Avengers was the big one, right? That was the first time we saw this type of film on screen. It blew everybody's mind. Everybody loved it, super pumped. And then 10 years later now, here we are after Iron Man 1. 10 years later, now we get the 3rd Avengers film, or the 4th, depending upon how you view Captain America Civil War, but the 3rd official Avengers film. And if it hits, 10 years in the making, lots of excitement, everybody's gonna be there. I would not be surprised if it hits or just barely passes the Avengers. I could be wrong. It could just hit that $500 million mark and stay comfortably at number 2. But I think there is a strong possibility that this inches close to or just barely inches past the Avengers. And for those of you who are like, Jeremy, this movie could be forever long. We don't know what it's going to be. That's true. It could be forever long. But let's take a look at what Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron did as far as runtime is concerned. And again, Notepad, Avengers was 2 hours and 23 minutes. Avengers Age of Ultron, 2 hours and 21 minutes. So these films are sticking right there, just under 2.5 hours. Rumors online right now are suggesting 2.5 hours. I'd be fine with that. I've sat through movies that are almost 3 hours. I can do it again, especially for Avengers. If it hits like I believe in my heart, this will hit. So let's all get excited, because at the end of April now, we have Avengers Infinity War. 10 years of filmmaking coming together. This is unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this in Hollywood history, where they're building one cinematic universe for 10 years and it's all gonna come to head. This will go down in the record books in the history of Hollywood for filmmaking, and filmmaking done well. Again, if Avengers Infinity War hits the way I believe in my heart, it will hit. Blue Iguana, starring Sam Rockwell and Ben Schwartz, is scheduled for release in the US in the 3rd quarter of this year. Link for the Deadline article in the description box below. So if you aren't familiar with Blue Iguana, because I wasn't, I had to look it up, I'll go ahead and just read off the synopsis on the IMDb page real quick. Ex-jailbirds Eddie and Paul are on parole and working in a New York diner. Their lives are a dead end, that is, until English lawyer Catherine Rockwood walks into the diner with an offer they can't refuse. When you read the Deadline article, and again, that is in the description box below, you can pull it up. It actually gives you more of an idea of what the story is going to be about, and kind of who got the rights and why it's being released this year. It's really interesting how it sounds. Plus you have Sam Rockwell and Ben Schwartz. Like I would never have pictured that team up in my head, but now that like I have it in my head, I'm like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. I can totally see this. I'm actually super pumped about it, and I just literally found out about this film today when I was reading this news article. I just feel like this could really, really work and really be a fun surprise at the theaters. Like off the top of my head, I can't think of another film that matches this description of a dark romantic comedy heist combo with a cast of characters that are a little bit different as far as the energy level goes that they bring to the big screen. So again, overall, I think this sounds like it could be a lot of fun. The curious thing to me though is that this news was just announced and they said they wanted to release it in the 3rd quarter of this year. Well, right now, it's March, so we're getting ready to close out the 1st quarter of the year. So with no marketing campaign, again, this could be a sleeper, because we might only get a few months worth of marketing before it hits theaters, if we even get that. And so it may arrive in theaters and then everybody's like, what is this film? And then once we see it, hopefully it's as good as it sounds. And then word of mouth might help carry this film in and get it released in even more theaters. And we can all just like sit back and enjoy this like surprising sleeper hit. But there is room for concern because again, we don't really know anything about this film per se. And with the third quarter drop, that is getting closer to the kind of like that end of summer. Now we're going to start kind of dropping films off at like the graveyard or the dumping yard kind of again. That second time of the year where summer blockbusters are over. Everybody's kind of all movied out for the time being because they've just been seeing all the Avengers movies, Deadpool, Star Wars, everything else. And now it's like, okay, we got some films that are going to come out, but then we move into Oscar season. So third quarter can be tricky, right? It can be that weird time of year where the movie's not summer blockbuster, but it's also not Oscar worthy. But that's not a guarantee it's going to be garbage, but it doesn't also give us any confidence that it's going to be worthwhile. However, again, with this cast, I'm hopeful that it is worthwhile, even though again, that third quarter can be tricky. Go ahead and comment below with your thoughts about the cast for Blue Iguana. Are you excited to see it based off of the synopsis? What do you think about third quarter movies? Let us know in the comments below. Honorable mentions this week. Mark Wahlberg's $6 Billion Man is set for release May 31st, 2019. Jason Momoa's The Crow is set for release October 11th, 2019. Disney's live-action Mulan will now be released spring of 2020. Gemma Chan is joining the cast of Marvel's Captain Marvel film as the character Minerva. And that wraps up the news segment for this week. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed any portion of this week's news, please do go ahead and give me that thumbs up. The thumbs up helps people who like movie-related shows find this movie-related show right here on YouTube. If you have any thoughts about any of the news topics that we covered, or if there was something that popped off in the news that excited you and you want to share it, go ahead and throw that in the comments section as well. And again, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Hi everyone, this is Jeremy Brunansky and you've just finished watching the movie news segment. Now if you enjoyed that, you may want to check out the Certified Rad playlist, which covers something awesome and uplifting that we found, or you may want to go ahead and check out the Special Segments playlist, which covers just a range and variety of topics that I want to dig a little deeper in, but we don't necessarily have time for on the weekly show. We will see you guys next Monday for a brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog right here on YouTube at 10 a.m. PST. Have a great week everybody, take care.